Well, thank you, Andrew, and thank you, everyone. And if it's not clear, the fashion show is over. I didn't want to bring shame on the Mitchell family. I wanted to draw a hard line test there. The fashion show is over. Yeah, I got the shoes, but so I just want to say thank you again to everyone, to the co-chairs and the host committee, to everyone from the Mitchell family who are so generous to us year after year, to all of our friends in the political world who have turned out to support Lambda Legal, and to all of you for being here, because it is the support that you give us at this event and throughout the year that makes our work possible all across the country for LGBT civil rights and the civil rights of people with HIV. So thank you so much, because this has been an incredible year and it never could happen without your support and so many people like you all around the country. You know, there is way too much to celebrate in the past year in the 4 minutes that I've been allowed. There is actually too much to celebrate in the month of October for the time that we have to talk about today. I'm sure that many of you have been following the news, but you know, we had a 12-day period this month like no other, where in 12 days we added 13 states to the marriage equality law. We went from 19 states plus the District of Columbia with 31 to go to 32 states plus the district with 18 states to go. And we didn't just add a lot of states. You know, the good states like Connecticut or the good regions like New England were long done. We added states like West Virginia, Virginia, and North Carolina. We added Arizona and Alaska and Nevada. We added places that people did not think were going to be coming online for quite a number of years. And I want to tell one quick story that I love. It will separate out the older and younger people in the audience. We had plaintiffs in our Arizona case. Our lead plaintiffs were a lesbian couple who have been together for 57 years, which means, if you do the arithmetic quickly, that they got together in 1957. We had filed this case some months ago, and the judge sat on it and sat on it. And after our victory in Nevada, the judge really had no choice but to rule. So we filed a week ago Wednesday. We filed for a summary judgment in district court, and one of our arguments was that these women have been waiting since the Eisenhower administration for justice, and we said they should not have to wait any longer. And we were not exaggerating. They have been together since the Eisenhower administration. 2 days later, a week ago Friday, the judge ruled in our favor, their favor, on Friday morning, and they got married that Friday afternoon. So they have not been married, I think today is 9 days that they've been married in their 57-plus-year relationship. And again, that could not have happened but for events like this and support like yours. It's an irony that we now have more states in this country that have marriage equality for same-sex couples than states that have employment, housing, and public accommodations protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. And that is a huge challenge that we are going to have to face and fight out in the years to come. And there is no end to the work that remains to be done. I often remind people, I'm asked a lot, well, what are you going to do when marriage is over? I'm like, well, first of all, that's still going to be a little while. Then there's going to be a lot of enforcement work to be done, because if you think that states like South Carolina, which is fighting us in court right now, even though their circuit court has spoken and they have no legal arguments left, you know, states in the Deep South, we're taking the Louisiana case up to the 5th Circuit. We're taking the Puerto Rico case up to the 1st Circuit. There is a lot of work yet to be done, and there will be a lot of enforcement work. But marriage is just about less than a third of Lambda Legal's docket. We have a docket of over 100 cases. We get over 7,000 calls a year in an ordinary year to our help desks, and I think this year with all the marriage changes, I'm expecting that number to skyrocket by several thousand more cases. We do employment discrimination, we do access to health care, we do youth and schools, we have a transgender rights project, we do HIV-related discrimination. The list is endless, and none of those issues are going away. And many of our cases cover multiple parts of Lambda Legal's agenda. And I'm about to introduce a plaintiff from one of those cases, Julia Frost, who, as was said, is a high school teacher in California. And California, as you know, is a state that has laws just as good as Connecticut's. And yet, those laws do not always protect people. She was a high school teacher with great reviews, and she was also helping LGBT students who were trying to organize in the school as a faculty advisor. And this seemed to be too much for the school administration, and so she was fired. So we're representing her in what looks, on its face like it is simply an employment discrimination case, and that's part of what it is. But if anybody thinks that schools can ever be safe for LGBT young people if teachers are fired when they come out, then think again. So this is also a case about students' rights. You can't have protections for students if you don't have them for teachers. You can't have protections for teachers if you don't have them for students. The patchwork of protections that we have all over the country is wonderful compared to when we didn't have a patchwork, but it is not the end game. We need to make sure that all the pieces are in place. And Julie's case gives us an opportunity to shine a spotlight on various parts of that discrimination. So we're very, very happy that she's here today to tell us a little bit about her situation. And as I turn this over to her, I just want to thank you all again for being here and for the generosity you've shown and the generosity I'm sure that you will show to Lambda Legal as our work continues. Thank you.
For being here. As a public school teacher, I can't imagine or remember a day when I wanted to do anything else. And I count myself as one of those fortunate people that got up every day and went to work and really loved what I did. You hear a lot about teachers burning out, they get tired. 15-year-olds, they're a difficult bunch. But I loved what I did, because I care about kids and I care about them learning. And when I took the job at Sultana High School, I didn't think anything of the conversation I had with somebody when she was talking about her husband and their hope for a family and all of those things, and I casually mentioned my partner. And in a very short time, I was called in for a meeting, and during that time I experienced one of the most humiliating events of my entire professional career. The word lesbian, the word partner, couldn't actually be physically stated without stuttering and stumbling over it. I had been approached when I first started working there to co-sponsor, co-support the school's Gay Straight Alliance with a heterosexual teacher. I had agreed. And when they found out there was a lesbian among them, that became quite the talk of the town, so to speak. That initial conversation, after I was questioned about my sexual orientation in an incredibly degrading manner, started a chain of these sorts of meetings in which I would be grilled, but my heterosexual counterpart with the Gay Straight Alliance would not be grilled about the events that the students were having. What were they doing? And these are nationally recognized events like Day of Silence, like Ally Week. And I was continually subjected to these sorts of questioning, but the entire time I kept thinking to myself, my reviews are great. I'm a really good teacher. I care about kids. Surely they'll get used to the fact, and this whole "there's a lesbian among us" thing will wear off, and it didn't. It didn't, because there wasn't strong leadership to stop that. We've seen an example today of what strong leadership can create in a community. The kids in the GSA were very active. They're probably the most amazing group of kids that I've ever had the privilege of working with. They are some of the most brave, outspoken, just truly passionate people, period, that I've ever met. And they started to have activities. They wanted to do things that every kid wants to do. They want to hang out and watch movies after school with their club and have popcorn and, go to the dance and, wear a suit or wear a dress and be gender nonconforming and be who they are without fear of reprisal. That didn't happen for them. They were ridiculed by other staff members. They were called names. And as an adult, forget my sexual orientation, as an adult on this planet, other adults shouldn't do that to kids, period. So I supported the kids when they stood up for themselves. And under California law, they have rights. They have the right to go to school and be in an environment free of hate. Those students eventually retain the ACLU to represent them. Like I said, they're the most brave, amazing people that I have ever met in my life. And when I was called into the principal's office and told that my contract wasn't being renewed, it was the single most heartbreaking, here we go, the single most heartbreaking moment in my professional career. Not just because I knew that that meant there would be great difficulty in my securing employment in the future, but what does that message send to the kids? You do the right thing, you stand up, you have laws that protect you, and these things can still happen. I had countless conversations with people who are like, oh my gosh, it's California, it's a public school. They can't do that. And really the correct terminology is they're not supposed to. And laws they're only as good as they are enforced. You heard it said that there's going to be a lot of enforcement going on, particularly with the marriage cases. But I'm crushed, and I'm lost without knowing exactly where my professional career will end up. I would do it all again, because I'm me. I'm an out lesbian, and I can tell you that there's no closet that I'd ever go back into in a million years. Our kids need us. They need us as, those of us in the room, many of us can sit there and go, well, what if I had a gay teacher? Imagine how fantastic talking about prom or your first date or anything would be if you knew somebody knew you. My life would have been markedly different had I had an openly gay teacher. But I will tell you the one thing out of all this that gives me the most hope and gave me the strength to be standing here today were those kids. Like I said, they're amazing. And had they not had the courage to stand up for themselves, had they not had the courage to say, no, we're not going to take this is enough, this isn't right, I am a human being and I deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, I don't know if I would have had the strength to say, no, you know what, how about no? They are amazing. As are all of you for being here. I can't tell you how heartwarming it is to see members of the community come out and stand up on a Sunday afternoon on a really gorgeous fall day here in Connecticut. It's like, wow, I just want to look outside. But on a really gorgeous day to support a cause that will eventually, touch all of us. Those of you, there's people here are saying, I work in a great place, it's fabulous, my boss is great. All it takes is a simple switch in management for somebody else to buy the company. And we all can be faced with these things unless we all stand up and continue to stick together like we are as a community. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank the Mitchells and the host committee for having me. And I'd like to bring John back up here. Thank you.